Secure the bag. Don't even blink, make them walk the plank. Walk it, light them up, let's make them sing. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. On Bucs, yeah, we on. Fire the cannons, fire the cannons, fire the cannons. The whole field's our red zone. Give you 55 reasons why this is our season. Palm trees breezing, opposing teams bleeding.
All right, welcome back to Buc What Ya Heard. My name is Gene. You can reach me at Buc What Ya Heard. You follow me, I will follow you back. And I'm joined by my co-host, Michael Pless of Real Bucs Talk. Been putting out the fires today, I love the content that we've seen this week. He's really broken down a lot of things and kind of helped educate a lot of the Bucs fans that, don't get to really dive in as deep as a lot of other people do. So greatly appreciate it. Great content. How you doing tonight, my friend?
Oh, doing great, Gene. It's awesome. It's another week of great football, and the Buccaneers are on Monday night, and obviously coming off a good win against the Chicago Bears, who look like a mess, to be honest. So no, it's awesome to be back on here with you and talk Buccaneers football.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love this because this is more of the fan perspective. I understand that there are a lot of shows and they deal with a little bit more realism, but as a fan, hey, my guy's playing good or he's not playing so good or what's going on with him. And, I am so, again, you see the title of the show, Still Cautiously Optimistic. I am optimistic for this team. I love what we're seeing from, and I'm going to start with the offensive coordinator. Having a real offensive coordinator that can go out and make adjustments, that can go out and, call plays that actually work and, that has a little bit of imagination to it. And the one thing that stuck out to me and just watching the game, there wasn't confusion. In years past, whether it's been Dirk Cutter, whether it was even Bruce Arians, and no knock on Bruce, but there are, Lord Byron, there were times where the players were confused. They didn't know where they needed to line up. They didn't know what they needed to do. But from the preseason up until now, you've had rookies, you've had undrafted rookies out there playing in this offensive scheme, and you just didn't see that level of confusion. And I think, it kind of goes back to what you were talking about prior to the season starting with Dave Canales simplifying everything and then making it work from there. Do you kind of see the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, minus, a couple pre-snap penalties from this past week, had a couple false starts, but for the most part, I mean, guys are where they're supposed to be. There's timing, there's rhythm to the offense. Baker's doing a great job of getting rid of the football on time. If he does hold on to it, he's finding ways to, escape. But I think what they're doing is they're setting up the offense to play to their strengths, which is, their receivers, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, and they're finding ways to get these guys the football. Same thing with Rachaad White, who had a much better game than he did against Minnesota. So I think it's all coming together. They're making it easier for the offensive line. They're making sure that, quarterback's not getting killed. They have pre-snap answers, and that's a big thing I saw. I retweeted a video. I don't know if you guys saw it, but be sure to check it out. It was, I think, what was the video? It was by Josh Hill, I think I want to say, or not Josh Hill. I'll have to pull it up. Let me pull it up here. But it was a great video just talking about the Buccaneers on third down and how well they were performing, and they had answers to everything, and they were using motion to set up pre-snap answers. It was a great job. Josh Norris is the guy I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, my
I
bad.
remember that already.
But yeah, he put out a video today with him and Colt McCoy just talking about how successful this offense has been, finding answers pre-snap and then execution, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah. The one thing that I will say that I'm really appreciating about Baker Mayfield is he's not forcing it. He's not forcing the ball into where it doesn't need to be. But if there's something that the defense is giving him, like that shovel pass, it just happened to be, there's a guy right in front of you here. Boom, here's the ball. And they've extended plays. And I kind of want to go back to Rachaad White. I know a lot of people weren't real thrilled with Rachaad White week 1, but I was, because he wasn't a liability. They
Right.
were able to they were able to throw the ball to a running back with the natural motion, catching motion that he had. I mean, he's made the most of the opportunities that he's had. So I'm perfectly comfortable with his progress. I consider this his rookie season because he was playing behind Leonard Fournette last year, whether people like it or not.
Right.
He's kind of catching up with the speed of the game, and I really feel like he's making market improvement compared to where he was last year.
Yeah, I think he'll get it. I mean, the guy is a great human, first of all, and he wants to be great.
Mhm.
So when you put those things together, the work ethic and just Dave Canales is going to find ways to play to his strengths as he gets to know Rachaad White a little bit better, and you see him in game situations. Like last week, they had the 3rd and 5 situation. I think it was the last drive before they punted, but it was a 3rd and 5, and they had Rachaad White out wide, as
Yeah.
a receiver, and they threw a screen to him, and little things like that to get him the ball in space to get a first down. Utilizing the 3rd and goal from the 4-yard line, running the football with him. That was
Yeah.
a great play to get the touchdown. So, yeah, I'm confident that he's going to be fine. He's going to come back and have a. I think it'll be a struggle against the Eagles this week because they're number 1 against the run. So that'll be tough sledding. But it'll be interesting to see how they utilize him in the passing game. Going up against their linebackers and stuff, get him the ball on screens. And so there's other ways you can use him. And I think he's doing a good job in those areas, especially in pass protection with the blitz
Yeah.
pickup. He's
You stole
been
my
really
thunder.
good.
I was
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I was thinking about too. There were a couple of plays where
Mhm.
he picked up a blitz, and you were able to extend the play, and that's what I love about this offense this year is they're not forcing anything. If it's
Right.
not there, you get rid of the ball or you kick it, and you just live to fight another day, and that's been working for them. And again, it just kind of goes back to these guys look so comfortable in this offense. Even the line, I mean, even your tight ends.
Mhm.
And I think your tight ends are going to really have to step up in this game against Philly,
Yeah.
and that's kind of what I want. I kind of wanted to lead that to you and see, is that something where they haven't really been utilized like we think they could be. And I know that in this offense there is a place for tight ends. How do you see tight ends fitting into this game coming up?
Yeah, I think it's going to be important because you look at the Bucks offense, they've been operating heavy in 12 personnel. So that's 2 tight end sets.
Right.
They've been doing some 13 personnel with 3 tight ends, but mainly it's been 12 because they're, operating from that on first and second down, utilizing it for the run game, but also in the passing game. And that's a big thing that is key because it allows you to get your best players out, wide as far as Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, but also gives you that third option in Cade Otton. And then you have another tight end that can stay in and block. So it maximizes protection. And it just gives you different variations, which is going to be important against the Eagles because,
Oh yeah.
of their front 7 is pretty good. And you're going to have to find ways to get guys moving and have build time in for Baker Mayfield with the play action pass, with the shotgun formations, give him more time to access and throw against an Eagles secondary that is probably the weak link right now. It's a secondary that can be attacked, and same thing with the middle linebackers. You want to get them to cover a little bit more and operate that way. So the tight end is going to be a big part because Cade Otton, he's been kind of that safety blanket over the first couple weeks, and you could see that take place on Monday night for sure.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm glad you're talking about that point. I feel like this is an opportunity for these guys to really get a little bit more involved
Mm.
in this offense. I'm a huge Kokeef fan, huge
Mm.
since he was
Yeah.
drafted, and I think eventually there will be a place for him. We still have all these games with 15 games left in the season. There
Mhm.
will be opportunities for him to make plays and get involved and really help his team win. And
Right.
I think, they're starting out. I love where they're starting out at. And I think as they start to expand plays and you get a little bit better execution and you cut down on some of your pre-snap penalties that we saw, I think you're really going to see some really quality things from this offense moving forward. And again, I've talked about this even before he set foot on the field. Chris Godwin, a healthy Chris Godwin, is a problem for any defense.
Mhm. Yeah, no doubt. And I think him and Baker are, still trying to get on the same page. They probably could have had a couple touchdowns last week, but just miss with timing and stuff like that. So they're getting better. Baker and Mike look good. So that's a good sign. But yeah, when you have those two guys that can operate like they do and win one-on-ones, and you can set up things for them in space to get them free. I think that's awesome. And you have these other guys like Trey Palmer and Devin Tompkins and Raheem Jarrett, who are kind of rotating in and out. So it gives you some different dynamics. We saw last week the run play to Devin Tompkins, which was a great call. Getting the defense moving one way and go back the other. So I think that will probably be the game plan against aggressive Eagles front. You want to get them moving one way and try to, get them catching backside, and you have that free release on the other side of the field. So that will be something to watch for. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be matchups there. It's going to be up to Dave Canales in this offense to make sure if the protection is right and they have guys lined up and they don't have, free guys coming in, they should have a chance. And they're going to still, commit to running the football because, for 2 weeks now, we've seen that they have over 30 attempts. And when's the last time we could say that for a Bucs offense where you have back-to-back, over 30 rushing attempts per game? And that kind of seems like it's the staple right now for the offense.
It's been a long time for that since we've seen that kind of thing. When you look at this offense again, and I think they are committed to the run, and you will definitely see that. Mm-hmm. You have to give props to the offensive line. Offensive line was a topic of conversation from the time Tom Brady left up until the first game of the season. I'm concerned about this offensive line. I really like how they're all coming together and playing as a unit. And I think that, again, because of the simplicity of this offense, I think it makes things a little bit easier. Not to mention, and I don't know if you've noticed this, but Baker Mayfield is getting the ball out pretty quick. I mean, it's not like he's holding on to the ball in years past where we've seen, former quarterbacks hold onto the ball and take sacks and this kind of thing. There have been opportunities for him to make plays. And again, he's not perfect, but what he's doing is not being a liability to this offense. And that's huge, when you lean more on your defense than anything.
Yeah, no doubt. It's playing complementary football. You're running the football to keep your defense off the field. You're converting on third downs, so you're finding ways to move the ball and keep your defense fresh, and that's huge. And you're not putting them in bad positions with turnovers, so that helps you. Whether it's maintaining leads or finding a way to just stay in the football game. The biggest thing for the Bucs offense right now is going to be the red zone offense. That is something they have to hopefully continue to improve, and I think they will with time. Yeah. But back to your point of the offensive line, I think for the most part, they're doing a pretty good job. I think it's better in pass protection. Probably the weak link right now is Robert Hainsey. He hasn't been playing as good as he was last year. So that is something, hopefully he can step up his play, but he's been kind of the weak link so far, which is surprising because most people thought, it was going to be Luke Gedeke because, of his experience last year and then moving back to right tackle. But he's been pretty solid. Cody Mock for a rookie has been pretty good. I think he stepped in and played really well. And then you look at Matt Filer, he's been average, but decent. Not a liability. I think that's the biggest thing you can say. None of them have really been a liability outside of maybe Hainsey at times.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I mean that's pretty good. And Tristan Wirfs, is Tristan Wirfs. So I mean he's gonna succeed anywhere he plays.
And I do want to apologize because I was not happy with him moving to the new position, but he's gone in there and he's knocked it out of the park. And, that just is a testament to just how talented this kid is. And, we're very fortunate. When I look at all the offensive linemen that were drafted before him, in how they're playing and what they're doing compared to what he's doing, I am so happy that, the Bucks ended up with him. And, I was excited. I
Mhm.
was excited when he was drafted. I was excited. And, he's normally for me, when it comes to the draft, I'm either indifferent or I'm super excited. I'm never going to be negative about a player coming in because it doesn't do any good. I think it's stupid, to be honest.
Mhm.
So, when Light has made picks at times, I'm like, man, what is he trying to do with this pick? But
Mhm.
at the end of the day, you want to see what that player ends up doing throughout their career. You want to look at their body of work rather than, what whether it didn't match up with what you wanted. So again, I was very happy with the worst pick. And some of the other picks that Jason has made, has been hit and miss. And you look around the league at the different general managers, and you can't tell me one general manager that hasn't had misses. I mean, look at New England and what their track record is with draft picks. So again, this team can only improve. And that's the most important aspect in all of this, is that there's none of the flaws that I see aren't something that you couldn't coach up, or something that they could just prepare better, or mentally just prepare for them, prepare for these things and try to overcome. So again,
Mhm.
I don't see anything that's like got me panicking. It's just be consistent, go out there and do your job, and I think it'll all come to you.
Yeah, I think, we knew last year that, the offense was the biggest issue. You're looking at this defense, for the most part, they've been pretty consistent. And so far 2 weeks, they've only allowed 17 points a game, which is great. That's what you want. That's the goal. And even on defense, there's still opportunities for growth and to get better, more consistency from the back end and also the front end. But the main thing is, for the most part, those guys are playing together as a unit. But when you look at the offense, I think the biggest difference you see right now is there's a plan. There's a plan in place. They know what they're doing out there. They know how to attack. They have answers. And I said that earlier in the pod. It's like they have pre-snap answers to everything. You're giving the information to Baker, and what he's doing a great job of is getting these guys in the right spots in the right play, and then just going out and executing. So it's really making it easy for the quarterback to just go, okay, pitch and catch. This is what I'm doing right here. This is where I'm going with the ball. It's really refreshing to see how they're running the same plays, but in different variations,
And that's something else you talked about, and even
yeah.
before the season started, was
Mhm.
you could go out there and it looks the same, but you're running a different variation of what you saw the play before. And I
Right.
think we saw that with Mike Evans. I think there was, and I'm trying to remember the video.
Mhm.
It may have been the Four Letter Network, that somebody was just kind of breaking down what Mike Evans was doing on the three monster plays he had,
Mhm.
and it was the same play, but it was a different variation of the same play, and they were able to capitalize on it each time. So um, again, shout out to this offensive coordinator, who, he deserves all the kudos so far, and you hope that he continues to improve on this. And
Mhm.
we don't want to, I'm not trying to bring up old stuff, but the old OC, I'd love to launch him into the gulag for what he put us through last year. But we've got another OC, and we're good with that, man, and
Yeah.
we're ready to move on.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw there was like I guess a Pittsburgh. I think they put it in our group chat, but there's a Pittsburgh fan talking about wanting Leftwich, or there's like a lot of fans up in Pittsburgh that want Leftwich as the OC. And I'm like, oh man, they can have him, but geez, I don't know if that's an improvement.
No,
But
again,
that
this
would be
guy,
funny though.
when just what you saw from him last year, and you just didn't see any. He was like pounding this square peg in a round hole, because he didn't want to make any adjustments. And I think that was the main thing that really just like frustrated the hell out of me about this guy.
Mhm.
You knew he was so predictable that you knew what was coming.
Yeah.
And so, again, I don't, not to beat a dead horse, and I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
But, I'm just real happy with it's just refreshing to see an offensive coordinator that looks at what wasn't working in the first half, and he comes back and he makes adjustments. And you can physically see it as you're watching the game progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Pelagic and Pooter brings up a great question. I don't know if you can pull this one up. It's he's asking a question. Assuming we don't win the game on Monday, what would you want to see that would make you feel good moving forward? Let you go first,
question.
Gene.
Where is it? Let me see if I can find that.
It's just below. It's a little further down.
Oh, I just probably haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah. Do you see it now? There you go. So I'll let you answer that one first, and then I'll follow.
What I want is this to be a competitive game. I don't want to see a blowout. I want to see the Bucs impose their will with the run game. I want to see a strong run game, number one. You know what you have with the wide receiver room. And I know what you could potentially have with the tight end room. And I just think it's just a matter of time before you get those guys going and they become an integral part of this offense. But for me, just market improvement. That's what you want to see game in, game out. You know that the Eagles are considered an elite team in the NFL, regardless of, what happened last week, just how everybody's got them lined up, whether it's offense, whether it's defense, whether it's coaching, they are looked at as a team the team to beat. So the Bucs can go out there and perform, which I believe that they can. Limit your mistakes, get home with 4, and do your job. These are things that the Bucs could potentially win this game, and that's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right. And welcome, KB. Hey, I'll let you answer the same question. I don't know if you saw it up there. But if we don't win, what would you want to see, just feeling good about, the team going forward? Oh, can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Are you muted?
So we can get my man back on here.
Yeah. But I'll go ahead and take it while KB. Oh, there you go.
Okay. I had to my speaker wasn't connected. So basically, if we just show some trench work, I don't need maybe 4 to 5 yards to carry against the Eagles, but hey, can we, sustain enough drives to be able to make the game, competitive? I think that's the big one. I had listened to a little bit earlier of you talking, Pless. If the Bucs can convert those 3s into 7s, again, it's going to come down to those types of details to beat a team like the Eagles. So defensively, sometimes Bowles has got a good track record against Hurts, but QBs with legs generally give him issues. Fields didn't even try to attempt. They're not using him the same way as they did last year. So last week wasn't really a test in that regard. So the Eagles are going to do the double butt push on those QB sneaks. What are we going to do to stop them in their run game? Because we saw the Eagles' offensive struggle last week against the Vikings on Thursday Night Football, and they immediately was just like, hey, we're just going to try to run the ball.
Yeah.
And they're their only sustainable offense. They're not going to be able to do that against us. We'll see if Carlton Davis plays, but offensively, can we just sustain some drives, send some 3s into 7s? That's just what's going to make this a competitive game. I think the Bucs have already won the first month of the season to have those 2 wins. Mm-hmm. So to me, the Saints and the Eagles to me are just like a test for, where are we at in the retool, rebuild, whatever you want to call it. Where are we?
Yeah. Yeah, no, those are great points. I'm in line with that. I think what you want to see is just, good execution. And like Ken said, scoring inside the red zone, taking advantage of what you have in front of you. And then defensively, I would love to see some winning up front with 4. I know that's going to be tough because their offensive line is one of the best. So just seeing what we come up, game plan wise, and see if we can make this a close contest, which I think it will be. And how does the team react in the fourth quarter if they have an opportunity to win it? That will be cool to see. But I appreciate the super chat by Pelagia Computer. Also, I think G Gomez had one as well. So much appreciated to the support there.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. The one thing that I did want to mention as well is this is going to be a good test for Baker Mayfield. My concerns coming into the season, and it's not like it's not recorded. It's not like I'm just now bringing this up. Mentally, how do you handle adversity? How do you handle, getting punched in the mouth? Do you come back from that? And, do you play within yourself, play within, taking what the defense is giving you, put this team in a position to win and not be a liability? And I think Baker Mayfield coming away with no turnovers in this game will be a win for me, in my opinion, will be a win.
Yeah.
Just based on his body of work in the past and just how he settled into Tampa. I'm excited about him, again, cautiously optimistic, but just seeing this guy and the plays that he's made and the fact that, nobody's talking about this. Baker Mayfield can read defenses. It never gets talked about. It's something that never comes up
with this offense, though. That's and again, this is where the offensive philosophy switch is the game changer here. The receivers have simple, easy routes that are predetermined before the snap goes off. Baker has done a really good job of audibling as well, audibling down to a run play. Typically, there's a check. 2 plays are called in the huddle. He's checked down to good situations. But at the end of the day, though, Gene, his job is just so much easier in this offense. I know Bruce Arians loves him, but I don't even want to envision what Baker Mayfield looks like in the Bruce Arians offense.
He would have been on the struggle bus big time just because of just how complex that offensive playbook is and just what he's working with right now. He looks so comfortable. He looks fluid. And again, I just want to see him under adversity. How does he handle adversity? And is he that leader that's going to say, hey, everybody, let's calm down. Let's go ahead and get the first down, and we'll just move down the field. And we've seen that with him. We saw him in a 2-minute drill where he drove down the field. And to me, that's
helped? Mike Evans, baby.
Yeah, Mike fucking Evans. Yeah.
This yak Mike Evans, that spin move down the sideline.
Beautiful.
I know the commentator and some people on Twitter are going to talk about the push off for the 60-yard pass, but
elbow to the face.
I mean, it was a bump. There was a wee bit of an extension, but
there was.
But at the end of the day, though, I mean, it is what it is. That was a ginormous play for that situation.
Yeah.
It jump-started our offense. My first drive was a field goal. So I mean, hey, this is at least what we're seeing at the Bucs. The first 2 games, they're coming up and they're getting some points on the board early. That's setting them up to be in games. Lean on the defense. Obviously, they shut it out. And then I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Jake Camarda, your NFC special teams player of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about defense. He stopped a blocked field goal 6 on his own. So what we're seeing is there's a team where not everything's perfect, but players are stepping up and everyone knows their responsibilities. There's always the Logan Halls of the world that's not really fitting into everything. Robert Hainsey's not fitting into everything. But when you have 22 starters and there's only 2 that I really have worries about, I mean, Zion McCollum, I think, had a fantastic game.
He did.
So, I mean, your backups are doing a solid job. Devin White and Levante David as good of a start as you can ask for. Shaq Barrett, gets that pick 6, and then JTS has 2 sacks. I mean, I don't know what else you can really ask for except for maybe more Godwin.
Yeah.
What else can we really ask for right now? And I think this is going to be the Godwin game. No offense. I mean, Mike Evans his explosiveness was deeply needed those first 2 weeks. But this is the week you just got to get those first downs. The way Godwin closed out that last drive against Minnesota, I expect those types of setups for him against the Eagles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just to add to your point, Gene, about Baker and him continuing this play, this level of play against the Eagles, I think that'll be really cool to see and see if he can keep up this efficiency, playing smart, taking care of the football, not trying to force things. Understanding the situation and understanding when to, go downfield and take those shots. And they had an opportunity last week with Mike Evans. I think it was 2nd and 5. Mike is open past, his
wide
defender,
ass open.
and Baker didn't pull the trigger. So I'm wondering, like, okay, is this going to be the week where he takes that shot and it connects, and you get that big play? So that'll be interesting to see how that operates, and hopefully. But like I was telling you guys earlier, and Ken, if you heard, but they have pre-snap answers. I think that's the biggest thing, like pre-snap answers to combat any challenge that the defense is giving them, so they understand. That's where like the pre-snap motion comes in, if it's going to be zone or man, and it makes it easier on the quarterback, and he just understanding where to go with the football. I think that is great to see. So hopefully that continues. And yep.
Yeah. Tempo is going to be huge. I mean, we know how good the Eagles defensive line is. They got some big boys in the middle. They don't get tired, even though it's going to be nighttime. It's still going to be feeling like 90, 95 on that field.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, keep them on the field, getting to those play calls early, keeping the defense on the field, and let Canales basically tell Baker maybe a new play. I think week 3 I think it would be unrealistic to expect that week 1. But if they're doing that week 3, week 4, post bye week, again, I think this is the first week where we'll see things open up. I think for the most part, things have been mostly vanilla for the most part. I mean, very simple concepts across the board offensively. So will we?
But to your point, real quick, and I'm glad you said that, they've been executing, and that's where it's at right there. The most basic play, they've been making the most out of those, as you say, vanilla plays. And, I think they're going to expand the playbook as we go along. But, KB, you're spot on. And I believe that, just the fact that they're able to execute on these plays is huge. When your running backs are catching the ball out of the backfield, and the running backs are catching screens, speed and space, and they're making the most of that, that is huge. That's something we haven't seen from this Buccaneers team for a long time. I'm trying to think the last time you've seen pass catching running backs where they've been able to impact a game.
Not since Charles Sims, baby.
There you go.
The great Charles Sims. Yeah.
But on that note, I mean, I think what's really been valuable to the Bucs is being able to run 30, 35 times the past couple of weeks. I don't think that model is going to be sustainable against the Eagles. And I'm just going to say, hey, what were the Bucs really good at for the past 3 years? Stopping the run. What did the Seattle Seahawks not do against us in London? Try to run the ball. So I expect a lot of quick, short passes, getting the ball out of Baker's hand, a lot more shotgun runs as opposed to under center. We saw that adjustment in week 1. I expect to see a little bit more of that because we know the Eagles are going to rely on their front 4. So let those double teams hopefully win. Give Robert Hainsey and Gadecki, who's done a pretty decent job, just give them a little bit of help. I think this is the week where you max protect more. And I think when the Bucs have run max protect the past 2 weeks, it's led to some big explosive plays. So that tells you that the offensive, scheme is allowing these, play callers, Dave Canales, to be able to say, hey, during the week, these are the plays that we think are going to work, and we're going to time them specifically when we need them.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I was telling Gene earlier, it's like, you're finding ways to get the ball to your best players, and that's important. Like, Mike and Chris each have, what is it? Chris had 5 in game 1. He had 5 in this game, and then same thing with Mike. He had 6 and 6. So it's like you're finding targets for your best players, and that's how the offense should be. Like, you're not trying
to. Little Trey Palmer just sprinkled in. Kate tight end sprinkled in, but it's
right.
Like saying, Plus, it's the 2 main guys. Canales told us he's going to scheme it open for his guys, and he's done it so far.
Oh yeah, without question. G Vegas brings up an interesting point, and I second this. And this again, as the fan in me, because I am a huge fan. I don't care to hear from national media, the 4-letter network, 3-letter network. Fuck them guys. And they weren't talking about Mike Evans the previous 9 years that he's been in the league. He wasn't getting any love. But now there's a possibility that Mike Evans goes to another team, and now all of a sudden he's the front page story, and I've seen it everywhere. And for me, I believe, and I'm going to stand by this, that the Glazers see the value in Mike Evans being here. And, I think what's going to play out, and I think Pless has mentioned it, KB, you've mentioned it. I think he's gonna test the market, see what his value is, and I think the Bucs will go ahead and get him re-signed, and we can move on, and life will be good. And I can laugh at everybody else that has Mike Evans in a different team uniform.
They said
I've been screenshotting all you assholes too. Just know that.
They said the same thing about Chris Godwin and Levante David.
Oh, I remember that. I think the grossest one was Levante David in a Jets uniform. I almost threw up in my mouth on that one.
Well, there's also the Bears one too. Those two were the big ones this offseason. Aaron Rodgers and then Justin Fields giving them the elite weapons.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Bucs would trade Mike Evans to the Carolina Panthers. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, that's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with what you guys are saying. I mean, Mike is most likely going to be here. He's not going to go. I mean, they'll like you guys are saying, they'll let him test the market, and the Bucs will come back with a very competitive offer, and he'll end up staying, just like the rest of the free agents that they're probably going to, let test. Levante will be in the same boat. So,
man, this Jay guy is a jerk, man. Who the hell is this guy?
Jay's going to keep Pless from running for office from all the pictures I've seen from the Minnesota.
Yeah,
he knows where all the bombs are buried.
Yeah, I gotta go to Green Bay with this guy, so it's gonna be interesting.
It's gonna be cold, and you two are gonna be all snuggled up under.
I know. He's gonna sneak into my bed. I'm like, what is this? What is happening here?
What the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
Oh, Left was wait. You're supposed to design plays for our best players. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah. No, analytics say that you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, fantasy football.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's playing the Atlanta Falcons. Ignore Bijan, Kyle Pitts, and what's his face, Drake London football.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
unbelievable. So real curious. I just want to go around the NFC South, and I'm glad that this came up. This is a perfect opportunity. You look at what Atlanta has done, and you look at New Orleans, and I've gone back and watched a couple of games. Is the way they're playing, is that sustainable? And I'll start with Atlanta.
Atlanta, I mean, they're not even, like we said, we're not even using their best players, but who have they also beaten? They beat the Panthers, who we're about to be 0-3, by the way. Bryce Young's not going to be playing on Sunday.
Packers.
So what's up with that? What's up with the Bryce Young thing?
He hurt his ankle. But again, it's the first overall pick. They're not going to compete. They don't even have a first-round pick next year, so it's like they're not necessarily tanking, but they got to protect their investment. Andy Dalton will take the hits against Seattle, but my point is the Panthers have lost to the Saints and the Falcons.
Right.
So from that standpoint, hey, we kind of know what the hierarchy is there. And then from the Falcons' perspective, I mean, they're gutting out some close games. Bijan is a player. There's no doubt about it. But again, their quarterback situation, Derek Carr hasn't been looking too shabby either.
No.
And who knows? And again, it comes down to the Saints offensively. Is Michael Thomas going to, continue to be healthy? And they're targeting him a lot, both him and Olave. But we just found out today that they lost their starting safety for the next 3 weeks. Marcus May will not be playing against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the play after the Carolina game where Michael Thomas ran a slant to the locker room just because he didn't want to face Big Boy out there. Was it Brown?
Derek Brown.
That was a dope slant. He ran straight to the locker room. He was talking on the way, but he was like, as soon as he hit that slant, he was in the locker room, and I guess he didn't want that smoke after all.
Well, see, that's the thing. This year, it's going to be all about how the NFC South performs against each other.
Yeah.
And so far, we've kind of seen that the Panthers are probably going to be the lower end. I mean, Bucs really have them late. So will Bryce Young, be hurt? Will they hold him out, especially that last game of the year? But even when healthy, we're not seeing everything dialed up.
What concerns me about Bryce Young is how small he is. I mean, and I don't think it would. There are some players that are small. Like you look at Christian McCaffrey, and the guy is just durable. I mean, they ran him into the ground while he was in Carolina.
Christian McCaffrey has muscles on his muscles on his muscles, and
he's in great shape.
if you see because in Pantherland up here, I mean, I know everything about Christian McCaffrey because that's all anyone used to talk about pre the game that I went to last year when he got traded and Byron put up 3 points. I mean, he takes care. He's got saunas in his house. He pays, $500,000, $1 million just to take care of his body.
Oh,
Christian McCaffrey is also in the best offense to protect him.
yeah.
Bryce Young ain't
Great
in that kind of situation right now, and that's going to be the big thing. Carolina was hurting on the offensive line last year, and how do you expect it, protect that investment this year? So
and they really got to protect. They got to teach him to get down. We saw that in the preseason. This guy will try to run through a wall if he.
No, I was just gonna say he's got no one to throw to. I mean, he's got
Adam Thielen, man. He might as well get a K now for Adam Thielen.
Yeah,
he got that touchdown last week, but it's not looking too pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation for Carolina, and that's why, when we were talking the offseason, I was like, why is everybody picking Carolina to win this division? I mean, they have a whole new coaching staff on both sides of the ball. You have a team that is, learning, new things, plus a rookie quarterback on top of an offensive line that is beat up right now, and wasn't very good to begin with. And then you look at, defensively, they still have issues across the board. So I didn't see it. And, speaking of Atlanta, you guys were talking about them. They just have an identity. Like, they know who they are. Like, they're going to run the football no matter what, because they're trying to do kind of similar to what the Bucs are doing as far as limiting throw attempts, like keep Baker under 35 passing attempts. And you see that's successful. Like, the difference is the Bucs are utilizing their star players as far as Mike Evans and Godwin much better. And Desmond Ridder, I'm not too confident on him either. I just don't think he's the quarterback that you want, running that offense. There's still inconsistencies there. And their receiving core, yes, Drake London, not bad, but other than that, you don't really have much to work with. So really, it is Bijan Robinson's show, and you hope that
it's those two's the offense, basically.
Yeah, so you're hoping he continues to, lead the team, and then defensively they have issues as well. Like, they have no secondary to speak of.
Yeah,
their
who is
pass
that?
rush
Who is it? Somebody just got hurt on their secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Chung, was it Chung? Trying to remember who that was. Somebody actually got hurt, and they got hurt last year for Carolina. I'm trying to think of who that was.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Atlanta.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, Carolina. Excuse me. Was it Patrick Chung or? Hold on, I had to look.
Oh, you're speaking of the linebacker,
Shaq Thompson. I know.
Yeah,
Shaq
Thompson.
Shaq Thompson got hurt.
Yeah. And then, Jeremy Chin, I don't know if
Jeremy Chin, that's who it was.
Yeah, I think he's okay though, right? Or did he get injured as well?
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking he had gotten hurt.
I know Shaq Thompson's out for a while. I think he's out for the year. So yeah, it's tough blows. I mean, and then the Saints. I'm not scared. I'm not scared of the Saints. Like, Derek Carr, he's just too up and down. He's going to throw you opportunities to pick off the football. Their offensive line is not the same because with Trevor Penning, like, that he's the weak spot. Like, you can attack him. Their guards are beatable as well. So yeah, I think when you look at that, the Saints are a team that, yes, still has a good defense as far as secondary, but there's weaknesses to exploit. Where the Bucs probably match up a lot better, especially when you look at how Canales is calling the offense. He's not going to do these things that we see in the past where the Saints are able to stop, us for, the whole game. Like, we're not going to get shut out against the Saints this year. That's for sure.
Well, and even if the Saints win week 4, I still don't think it's a fair, it's Brady week 1, 2020 type scenario. I mean, like, it's going to be in their house. It's right before the bye week.
Right.
The offense has been clicking, sure, but against, the competition from the defenses that we've played haven't been, to the level of what the Eagles and even the Saints this year are. So,
yeah.
Again, I just think regardless what happens week 4 and even week 3, honestly, bearing, a Giants collapse, I just wouldn't be worried about this team. They took care of what they needed to take care of. if they win the games that they should win, we're looking at 8-9 wins. So like again, I think if they can sneak a third win, whether it be against the Saints or Eagles, I just wouldn't count on it, but I wouldn't bet on it. But I think, hey, there's a good opportunity there, and you never know what happens any given Sunday or Monday.
Yeah. Oh, just so everybody knows, we're simulcasting this. This is on Real Bucs Talk on their YouTube channel as well as Buc What Ya Heard. This is the show, and I'm just glad that you guys can come on and just wherever you're at, we're able to sit down and talk about football. But I know it's kind of confusing, and so if you're on mine, you're not seeing everybody in the chat, and if you're on theirs, you're not seeing everybody in the chat. But that's what's happening. So it's being simulcast, but it's all the same place, all the same love. We're all Bucs fans, and that's what it's all about, baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's awesome doing this on Thursdays. I think it's great. Just talking about, this team and also, just around the league. But you're seeing, once we get into, like you talk about, Gene, once you get into like week 6, where you start to see tendencies and start to get patterns, and that's really where it's going to be fun to see how this team adjusts on both sides of the ball and what comes of it. But right now, I think they're in a great spot. Like Ken was saying, you go into these next 2 weeks, if you can pull out a third win, like you're in great situation. 3-1 at the bye would be amazing for this football team, and you'd be able to come back stronger because you'll probably get healthier. You'll be able to get a Kalijah Cansey probably at full go by that time for Detroit. If he plays at all during these next 2 weeks, hopefully he can. But if not, it's not a big deal in my opinion. I think you let him make sure he's good, because those calf injuries, as we see with Joe Burrow, you don't want them to hang around and linger.
No.
What I really appreciated about Kalijah Cansey, what I got to see from him with live bullets, is this guy is legit. I believe I think he's certified. I think he's a legit product. Just kind of watching him play, just a little glimpse we saw of him.
Yeah.
And, I just want to see him 100% healthy. I don't want them to rush him back. I want him to come back 100% full strength. I don't want to talk about tightness or potential soreness or any of that. I want him to rest until he's ready to come out there and whoop that ass. And, even if that's in the second half of the season, I'm good with that. I believe that, just based on what we've seen from the Bucs, is if they keep on this trajectory, they will be playing for the NFC South for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're going to be right there. And, but yeah, to your point to Kansas, I mean, he was looking amazing in those 11 snaps that he had.
Run game too, not just pass game, obviously.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He was just in the run game.
Yeah. He's disruptive.
The whole season, basically.
Yep. Exactly. And like, you guys have heard me talk about Logan Hall. Kalijah Cansey is like 1000% the opposite of Logan Hall. Like Kalijah Cansey has great technique. He understands the game. He knows how to win with leverage. He knows how to play position. He knows how to change things up and disengage and win. Just an elite player. And that's probably why he was a first round pick. Logan Hall is a second round pick. But yeah, Logan hasn't been very good. And I'm hoping, it gets better.
Me too.
We just hope it gets better.
Question. In Madden, is there an eating grass rating? Because Logan Hall would be number 1 in the league.
He would. 99 overall, for sure.
And I guess what really frustrates me with him is when he gets on the field, he gets washed out of the play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's not like
have no leverage.
It's not like he's standing his guy up. He literally gets washed out of the play, and he has no factor in it. So, and I've had people tell me, oh, well, he got a tackle for loss. But when you look at it, and I've used this analogy, I'm going to use this analogy again. That's like me going into the forest, drunk off my ass, and I find a cold case of beer, and I trip over it. Right place, right time. I didn't use any of my skill to get this, but here it is. And that's kind of how I've equated some of the plays that he's made. It wasn't like it was effort, it was burst. It was technique that he got to where he did. He just happened to be there, and that's where it was. It was laid in his lap. And again, this is a guy. He's still young. He can still improve. But just what he's shown us from day one to now, I haven't seen anything that I'm like, oh man, this guy's got burst. This guy's got technique. This guy's got strength. This guy has it. You know, it's kind of like Adrian Claiborne. When you were watching Adrian Claiborne, you're like, why did we draft this guy? And Cam Jordan.
You mean 5
Jordan
sacks a game? Adrian Claiborne, the slander. The slander.
I'm going with that, man. I'm going with that, man. And not well. I will say this. I will say this in his defense, he wasn't healthy. He didn't stay healthy as a Buccaneer. So I will say that. I'll give him that.
Well, he got drafted with literally a nerve damage in his shoulder. But for Logan Hall, I consider him the anti-Gerald McCoy. Gerald McCoy will give you a splash play, but Gerald McCoy on a run play would run right past the running back, and Logan Hall is anytime a double team's there, he's on the ground. So that's basically what he is. I expect against the Eagles, I actually expect Will Golston to get more snaps.
I hope so.
Yes, I think there's going to be more of a defensive line rotation. The Eagles, I expect a game plan of a lot of running and RPOs, hopefully to hit A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith down the field. I expect them. I honestly think this is going to be a lower scoring game than I think many people realize. I think there's going to be a lot of, running, play action, a lot of, short, easy passes for both sides of the field. So I just think, I think
JTS is a monster game.
The 20s, I will be surprised. I'm honestly putting that on the record.
In my hot take is JTS is going to have a monster game. I think they're going to key in on Vita Vea. I think they're going to key in on Shaq Barrett. And I think that this is going to allow JTS on. I think he wins his one-on-ones. I personally do. I could be wrong here, but that's my guy, and I'm going to stick with that. I think JTS has a monster game versus the Eagles.
Yeah, no, I think that would be great to see. Back to Logan Hall, I think the one thing he is doing well is he is taking up blockers when it comes to the pass rush as far as getting guys free. He is doing a great job of stunts and pushing guys around there. So that's a positive. But yeah, I'm in the mold of what Ken is saying. I think it'll be in the low 20s. I think both teams, it'll be in like that 24-20. I could see a score like that. Maybe
17. I
24-17. I could see it. Yeah.
21 for me. Like I don't see many points here. It's just like unless I think the Eagles are going to be more prone to explosives than we will this game. Mm-hmm. But Todd Bowles has done pretty well with not allowing explosives. And the Eagles don't have their OC that we see. Anthony Richardson was having a lot of success in Indianapolis. Jalen Hurts does not look like the same Jalen Hurts. They are still a very talented football team. But if their game plan is to run up and down the field against the Bucs, unless Vita Vea gets carted off the field, I don't see that. There's going to be a lot of attempts of running, and I just don't. I think this is going to be the Devin White game of all Devin White games. This is what he wants. He wants to play downfield. Dallas Goedert isn't going to be a huge factor the way that he was last year. I think Devin White's going to be playing downhill, and you guys know how I feel about Devin White. I think if there's a game for Devin White to play like he did week 1 and literally hold the spotlight, it's this game. He's going to be, whether it be spying Jalen Hurts or keying on one of those running backs, Devontae David's going to probably be having Goedert a lot more. So I think Devin White playing downhill, if he wants to play like he does week 1, he is going to keep us probably single-handedly in the game, assuming that defensive line holds up.
Can I throw in a defensive turnover for Levante David? Just going to throw that in there too while we're at it. Since I'm out here throwing hot takes around.
I think that is good, and it's going to come down to who can run the football better, and also protection of the football. Turnovers are always going to be the key. So if the Buccaneers can play a smart, clean game, they're definitely going to be right there at the end. It's just going to come down to can they make those key plays in the fourth quarter. But I think both sides are going to try to get something going on the ground game, utilize that play action. And see if there's any big plays available. But Yeah, I mean, Todd has done a great job against this Eagles team of the past. And like you said, it's a different offense because we haven't faced AJ Brown before yet. But when you look at, you know, the scheme and the new offense coordinator with Brian Johnson, the head coach now at the Colts, it's different. So, and Jalen has struggled inside the pocket, like he's just not seeing it as far
I
as
don't
they
think
want.
he's comfortable.
Yeah, I mean, you can see where he's hesitating. He's taking a lot of sacks. He runs into sacks.
It's not because of his offensive line either.
No, the offensive line is fine. Like they're giving him plenty of time.
This is on him.
It's just like, yeah, and a lot of times he'll give you opportunities to make picks. You just have to make sure you take advantage of those. You know, so really, it'll be a game where if the Buccaneers want to win, they're just going to have to play smart. They're going to have to limit the penalties, and they're going to have to make sure that they can, you know, find ways to be different as far as how they are going to attack the Eagles defense. You know, you want to get that defensive line moving a little bit and try to, you know, attack the backside and see what happens.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head. Charles Reed, we need to be super disciplined when it comes to the RPO type plays. Yeah, do your job. And I think that needs to get preached from now until Monday. Do your fucking job. That's all you need to do. And I think that this team can be successful.
Yep, absolutely. And Gene, you're probably going to get me unmonetized for that F-bomb, but it's all good. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I forgot. I'm sorry.
Wait, didn't they actually like this is serious?
I'm kidding.
Didn't they actually tweak the terms there?
It's fine. It's fine. Yeah.
No,
it's
I'm
no
sorry,
big
man.
Deal.
Okay.
No, it's no big deal. I was kidding. Yeah, no, it's all good.
I thought Plus cursed like a sailor. Damn, I didn't
yeah, but you know, you're on the most unprofessional show, and you know, it's just yeah, like you didn't have to worry about that on loose cannons or anything. But you're on Buc What Ya Heard, so you know, just anything can happen.
Yeah. No, it's all good. No, I was just joking with you. But no, I think all of you guys are making great points. I think it's gonna be a great test. I think it'll be really exciting to see how these adjustments are played with Canales and also Todd Bowles. I really want to see how yeah. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's going to be cool to see what kind of wrinkles, and like Ken was saying earlier, I think they're going to really open it up, and you're going to see some different things that we haven't seen yet, especially with the route combinations and even in the running game as well.
All joking aside, I really am excited about after the bye week to see what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers come up with. I feel like this is a team that, you know, we've just seen a small portion of what this offense can do. And I think once Dave Canales gets comfortable, you know, with everybody, and I mean everybody, I really think that you're going to see something totally different. It'll be night and day from what you've seen in the first part of the season. We're just this is going to be the third game into the season. I think you're going to see a lot more from this offense as we move forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, and it will be fun. Now the main thing is, can they pick up it, you know, inside the red zone? That will be interesting. See if they like. I think that's where Ken was probably going, like with the variation inside the red zone. I think we haven't seen much from that aspect, but that'll be exciting to see if they change it up this week because they know it's kind of been like a little bit of a struggle. So maybe, you know, finding ways to get guys open, you know, scheming them open with some pick plays and stuff like that.
And if Bradbury's coming back, I expect a little bit more man than what the Eagles typically have shown without him last week. So that I just think, again, that's just going to open a lot in the red zone. I can see the Eagles just crowding that box. It's just like, hey, Baker, beat us. We haven't even seen the Mike Evans fade yet. We haven't seen the Chris Godwin pick play. We haven't seen a lot of those wrinkles yet. And again, if they get into the red zone, I think there's going to be a lot more creativity than what there has been. I don't think they're ready to go fully into the bag. I think coaches probably want to use a little bit more against the Saints. If I'm just going to be fully frank here, especially coming on a short week, that's a huge division game. They lose to the Eagles, the season's not over, man. Like, again, I expect the Eagles to come out with an extra 3 days of rest to come up with something nice. So I think we're going to have a counterpunch ready there. But like Pless is saying, it's just going to be turning 3s into 7s. I expect the Bucs to move the ball pretty well. It's just going to come down to the red zone. I mean, they're a well, coordinated team. They have some issues in the secondary right now. So it's going to come down to that defensive line. And what did Canales say? He's going to look at the statistics and say, hey, probably not a great idea to run on this team. So I expect, again, a lot of probably play action, shotguns, RPO type, get that ball out quick. I don't think you're going to see Baker turning his back to this defense very much. Probably like near the goal line. But again, I expect a little bit more in the offense, and I think that's a good thing, everyone. They won 2 games without having to go into the bag. Well, it's the most creative play we've really ran, the Devin Tompkins end around. I mean, like, they haven't done anything. We know what this team's created. I mean, Puka Nacua is in this offense in LA looking like Mike Evans right now. Yeah. So
that goes back to what I'm saying. This offense, people are comfortable in this offense, and that makes all the difference in the world. And as Bucs fans, I don't know how long everybody that's watching, I don't know how long you've been Bucs fans, but we've seen where you've got an intricate playbook and these guys are struggling and they're like, what's going on? They're tapping their helmet. They're not sure, doing this kind of thing in the preseason going into the regular season. And you're still seeing, what are we doing? But this year, I mean, undrafted free agents, and this I'll die on this hill. Undrafted free agents are coming in and they're producing in this offense. Mm-hmm. You've got a wide receiver who we still haven't talked about a lot, and he's out there doing his thing. He's a rookie out here doing his thing, and we haven't scratched the surface on what this guy's going to bring. And again, this offense it's still undetermined what this offense is going to end up looking like at the end of the season. But for now, everybody's comfortable. People are coming in, making plays, and they're able to get comfortable enough to do their jobs. And I think that's the most important part when you're looking at this offense as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and thank you, Pelagia Computer, with a super chat. As he says, imagine what this offense will look like a month from now. Exciting to see what's in store. Yeah, I mean, the offense is just getting started. It's going to get more comfortable as long as guys can stay healthy and we, have, people in place. It'll be a lot of fun because, like Canales said this offseason, it's about being simple but complex in delivery. Like that's, or I think it's the other way around, complex but simple in delivery, and that's what they're doing right now. I mean, like Ken said earlier, they're running a lot of just simple plays, but making it fun and making it hard for the defense to identify where they're going with the football. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a credit to them and the staff and what they're doing. And you can just see, like, this is a different Baker Mayfield. Like they are identifying what his strengths are and they're playing to it. I think that's a huge factor. They're playing to the strengths of everybody. Yeah. They're not asking these guys to do, things that they're just not comfortable with. Like Trey Palmer, for instance, like him in the slot, his job is to clear guys out. Like he's taking safeties with him. He's being that speed threat. And when the adjustment that you're going to see later on the year is when they don't go with him, he's going to be the guy getting the football. So that's the fun part of it. That's what you're seeing with the variations. And it's going to be really exciting stuff.
Yeah. Shout out to MK. I appreciate you checking us out. Thank you so much for jumping in the chat. Greatly appreciated. Again, as Pless mentioned, Real Bucs Talk at Real Bucs Talk or Buc What Ya Heard. Either way, I appreciate all this. I appreciate, everything that's going on in the chat. My man KB, we get to get him back. He's out here making millions on the road, doing his thing. But it's good to have him in here, just talking football. And, as a high-level former player, man, his insight is greatly appreciated.
You're too nice.
I couldn't agree more. Ken, talking football with Ken is always awesome because, again, I don't have the experience playing the game. I just grew up watching and studying the game. and just kind of, trying to learn as much as I can. I'm still learning. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
everything, but and when Ken talks, you can understand that he has that experience from playing offensive line, and it's really cool to have that, that conversation back and forth. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, I can't believe it's been an hour already, man. And that's what I say when I hang out with you guys.
Yeah, it's about time to see the Giants get their ass kicked.
Yeah, it's time to watch it, man. And the Giants fans were jumping out the window week 1, and it's just really bad right now.
They beat the Cardinals. They had a whole fourth quarter comeback. I got to watch part of that in a bar. That's like the only football I watched of week.
Talk about a team that is like just blatantly not hiding their tanking, like the Cardinals I'm speaking of. Like they're just way out there. They're competitive. They're competitive.
What happens? Buda Baker rolls. Oh, you're okay, Buda. IR for you, sir. No, that is how you tank. And they have an extra first-round pick, I believe, right, from the Texans?
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
So the Texans suck. You might be looking at a Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. combination.
You know what?
So what do you do with Kyler Murray?
Oh, he's traded. But you know what's funny is like the first 4 picks could be the Cardinals and the Chicago Bears, which is that's
crazy.
That would be wild.
Could you imagine if they trade Justin, or they want to trade Justin Fields, and they're like,
oh, and the Bucs get him.
Trade up to number 2, please. We'll give you 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Please.
I mean, literally, what would the Bucs do with Justin Fields?
Would you take Justin Fields? I mean, imagine him in this offense under Canales. If Canales is here, would you take the chance of trying to shape him and make him a quarterback?
I could potentially.
Yeah.
Huh?
Not for a 1.
Right.
No, hell no, not for a 1. Oh,
yeah.
Heck.
But I mean, some team's gonna pay a 1 if they miss out on one of these quarterbacks. Give me the Washington kid, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's the Bucs could draft 15, 18, and probably get a normally top 8 quarterback or top 8 pick in the quarterback. This draft, I can't tell you about the position players from a college. This is the first year I've really dove into college football. These quarterbacks, especially in the Pac-12, man. Colorado had me staying up till 2 a.m. and I had to travel the next.
Shout out to Coach Prime. I'm actually going to the ASU Colorado game. I'm going to go and check him out. Check out Coach Prime live. I wanted to go see him in Jackson, but I missed my opportunity because I ended up going to France, so screwed that up. But this year, I will get to see Coach Prime. A dream come true.
Travis Hunter. That's going to be a fun player in the NFL, baby.
Oh yeah. And I mean, the quarterback Sanders his son is playing out. He's playing outstanding.
Sanders there at 18. Shit, why not?
Exactly.
Why not?
I mean,
Kyle Trask starting
back
year.
in Florida.
Again, a lot of it's going to come down to Baker. If Baker signs that 2-year deal,
so I have to ask you guys if Baker is successful. I'm meaning the Bucs are in the playoff with Baker Mayfield. Is this a guy you look at re-signing, or do you look at the draft and potentially bringing a quarterback in, or do you look at Kyle Trask? There are so many options out here right now. What do you do?
Gene, what I would do is I would let him test free agency the same way you're probably going to let Mike Evans test free agency. You're as valuable as what other teams are going to want to pay. So from Baker Mayfield's perspective, they've already passed on him for 2 off seasons, okay? And then from that, moving on from there, he's young enough, and it's good. He's a former number 1 pick. But what did I just name in this draft, man? We got like 7 quarterbacks just in the Pac-12 that are awesome. That's before I go up the corner to UNC to Drake May.
It's a heavy quarterback class.
So I'm going to ask you.
So many positions. Kyler Murray can be traded. Justin Fields can be traded. I love Baker Mayfield the way he's playing, but a team's going to take Justin Fields or Kyler Murray over him. That's just how the world in the NFL works.
Yeah.
So we're looking at college. How many of these college players' abilities transfer to the NFL?
It's all about
totally different game here.
It's where they land, man. That's literally the name of the game for the quarterbacks. I mean, look at Jared Goff. Jared Goff was literally cast aside from the offense that took him to the Super Bowl. He's literally in the same exact offense and being successful again.
He's balling out of control right now.
But put him with Jeff Fisher? No.
You couldn't put Tom Brady with Jeff Fisher.
Yeah.
Mr. 8-8.
Hey, real talk. Jeff Fisher is the devil, man. As what Bobby Boucher's mama would say. He's the devil. But something's wrong with his medulla oblongata.
But again, all this is, future talk. But if Baker continues to have success, I think that'll be awesome. Yeah, you have to look at him as far as the extension. It just depends on what kind of contract you can get. But if he continues to play and you have Canales back as well for next year, I mean, that's a good scenario for the Buccaneers, given the situation that they're facing.
Why would so what you do is the Bucs, you play the prices right. Okay, Baker.
And
1 penny more, baby.
Even if Baker is back and you re-sign him, you still draft a quarterback. You still go out there and you look at one of these quarterbacks.
Quarterback in round 2 next year. You don't necessarily have to spend a first round pick.
Yeah, you don't even have to take him round 1. You can wait till round 2, 3, and find a very good quarterback like a Riley Leonard from Duke. I mean, you can wait for guys to come to you.
Is this a guy that you would see that complements this Buccaneers offense?
And again, still have Kyle Trask too next year. So you literally, if I'm the Bucs, I'm just letting everything play out. And I think that's what the whole Mike Evans plan is. It's just hey, do we need to pay Baker? Well, maybe if we could save an extra $1 million or $2 million on you, Mike, maybe that can help us push some money down, get Baker back, get Levante back. What can we do? That's just what the name for the Bucs. And I said this during the Brady years. Don't look forward because you're going to miss out on what you had now. But for this season, it's don't look forward because you don't know what's going to happen now.
Yeah. And you look at some of these quarterbacks like Trey Lance or Justin Fields. That's the whole Patrick Mahomes effect. We saw what Patrick Mahomes did, but you can't compare that to the rest of the league because Patrick Mahomes coupled with Andy Reid is why Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. Okay, Patrick Mahomes. You had Donovan McNabb, then you got Patrick Mahomes. Sorry, Donovan McNabb. Let me take him off camera. So this is the difference right here. And that's kind of what you have here, and just what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do, working with the Andy Reid, you can't expect that every single draft. That's like once in a generation draft that you get a Patrick Mahomes that's able to do what he does.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Jalen Hurts drafted?
Second round.
Second round, OU.
Yeah,
I mouthed it, but yeah. So again. You can hit on these Kyle Trask, I think, in this offense could still be good enough if they were to draft a quarterback in the first round next year, for instance. I'm not even that concerned. This offense
is he that mobile? Is he as mobile as a?
You don't need to be that mobile. Baker's being successful because he's doing well in the pocket. I think that was the best exemplified in the Bears game, where he can spin out of what would be normally sacks for, let's say, Tom Brady. But Kyle is a lot more agile than he was in Florida. I'm not saying he's better than Mayfield. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if you draft a quarterback in the first round next year, you can literally just ride out the first month of the season with Trask and probably go. If Kyle Trask was the starting quarterback in these 2 games, I really don't think Baker Mayfield won week 1 on literally 1 run and 1 throw.
Right.
Week 2, our defense basically won us the game. So from that standpoint, you don't need the quarterback to be a hero. What you need them to do is to make the right read, make the right adjustment, and make the right throw. That's literally the quarterback's job here. Yep. And that what I'm just saying is, if you're going to draft a quarterback from this upcoming year's class, the Pac-12 is mostly a spread offense. Caleb Williams might be the only one with a pro style, equivalent of an offense.
So but I have to ask, I'm glad you brought his name up. I keep hearing his name thrown around. Do you think we're going to hear Caleb Williams' name mentioned when it's draft time next year or in 2024 when, with the first pick of the overall draft, is Caleb Williams going to be that guy, or is
Yes.
somebody going to step up and prove themselves a little bit more than him? What I've seen from Caleb Williams this year,
Unless he tears an ACL, and even then, okay, so there's actually a quarterback in this draft that actually looks like Mahomes from Texas A&M.
Yes.
Texas Tech, Texas Tech.
Texas. I know what you're talking about.
So, but from that standpoint, Caleb Williams is the most equivalent to what you could find from a Patrick Mahomes. But again, it's going to come down to who your coordinator is, what the stable situation is. Is your quarterback or is your GM trading 3 first-round picks away? Because when you do that, that's when you end up in trouble. And I think Jason Light also has shown this patience mentality when it comes to free agency, when it comes to when to put all of your eggs in the basket. I'm not concerned with this team's long-term stability. I still think, for instance, if the Bucs win 10 games, if I'm a team, I am calling Canales and at least taking an interview. I mean, from this standpoint, you never know. If you told me the Bears had Dave Canales as their offensive coordinator, I bet you they'd be looking a lot better. And this is from someone who is game 2 into calling plays.
Yeah.
That's how this offense is all about, being able to make things as simple for your players to be able to execute, as Pless was saying earlier, to the degree. You're not going to be necessary unless you're Sean McVay and have mastered, and Kyle Shanahan had mastered what this offense is. We've seen what it is, not in an amateur, but someone who's basically been on the outset. He wasn't even calling plays as a quarterback's coach. He would make a suggestion here and there. This is someone you can understand. He can communicate. That's the most important thing. What do we hear DJ Moore talking to Devin White on the field? He knows he's not being used well.
Right.
Like, we know Mike Evans is being used to probably his best ability in his entire career. Year 10. He's getting used for the first time to the best of his ability. And no offense to BA, but BA got the best out of Godwin. He didn't get the best out of Mike.
No.
Yeah. I would argue he didn't even get the best out of Godwin. Like, it was.
I think Antonio Brown, Antonio Brown, the quitter, had more impact on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin than Bruce Arians did, because of his the way he runs routes, the way Antonio Brown runs routes. As much as I dislike this guy, and I used to be all for him, KB will attest to this. I really believe that with AB and the way he runs routes, it helped Mike Evans and it helped Chris Godwin.
I think it helped AB because AB knew the offense better than literally any of those guys. And we see how smart Chris Godwin is. He's the first one who apparently learned the offense and taught it to everyone.
Right.
AB might not be the smartest off the field, but you can be, no offense to him, a dum-dum and still be a mastermind on the field. Because what does AB care about? AB. So if AB wants to make money, AB is going to know how to run a 10-yard out route better than anyone. That's just how.
But what I'm saying is, if you're practicing with an AB, and you're already an elite receiver, and you're learning from this clown, the quitter, I mean, it does nothing but helps your situation. And I can tell you,
you're not wrong. Ask Juju Smith-Schuster what that's like. He rided his coattails to like a $50 million contract from playing video games.
Exactly.
So, but again, what I'm basically trying to allude here, though, is Bruce Arians' offense is, you can't buy a Bruce Arians for dummies playbook.
Not even close.
Like, you can't do that because it's literally, you have to be literally like a rocket scientist to really know, hey, I have to know. Imagine playing Bill Belichick and Bruce Arians' offense when they change their scheme every single week.
Mm-hmm.
How do you know what to do?
Yeah,
it's predicated on what the defense is playing.
Yeah, it's tough because it's all based option routes, and there's a lot of things, variables and change and all that stuff mixed in.
Tom Brady would eat plays before they develop because it would just be like, oh, I can tell he's probably not off, or there's pressure, but it's like, I can already tell this play's broken.
Yeah, and a lot of the success came because, first of all, you had a very good offensive line, but also you had 4 legit options on every play, and one of them is going to be open pretty much 90% of the time. And that's what happened. And that's why they found, success. That's why they were really good in 2021, scoring 30 points a game, because guys just couldn't cover everybody. And, Gronk was open, or it'd be AB underneath, or it'd be Mike and Chris downfield.
And even then, it was never that easy.
No, it wasn't, because
and
you had guys operating it that,
because that's how hard the offense is. You can have three Hall of Fame caliber players and struggle.
But this goes back to what I was saying about Dave Canales and the simplicity of his offense. People are comfortable in his offense. Whereas, regardless, and I'm not taking anything away from Bruce Arians. I'm not taking anything away from Lord Byron or Tom Brady, because that was a marriage that got them that Super Bowl. It wasn't one guy or the other. It was a marriage of the three that got them to where they were. So
before we hop off, to give Todd Bowles credit, I mean, he's the one who hired Dave Canales in the first place, and we've seen him be a lot more aggressive as a head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
100%.
Todd Bowles deserves the credit for everything we say about Dave Canales. I just want to
guys,
you trust your OC. That's why it is. Like he
made the hire. He could have taken an easy way out. He could have hired internally. He could have done a lot of things, but I think he took the a guy who's never called plays before, that is a ginormous risk. And an offense that typically he has really struggled against. Yeah. And that's why I'm actually excited to see what we do against like the 49ers, the Lions. I'm really excited to see what Todd Bowles has been practicing against this defense all offseason, how he's going to actually be able to make those adjustments too.
Yeah, man, this has been so much fun just talking to you guys, just picking your brain on, where you guys are, this going into week 3 of the NFL season. I appreciate you guys, and I want to thank you. I can't believe we've almost been on here an hour, 21 minutes. That's crazy. But Pless, I want to start with you. And first and foremost, the articles that you've dropped, the videos that you've dropped, the care that went into making those. Thank you.
I used to write back in the day.
I know you used to.
Yeah.
Pless and Mark. I want to thank Mark. And Mark, great guy, but he's married, so he's limited on what he can do. He's kind of like, this is Byron Leftwich right here, basically. Mark is the quarterback, and Mark's wife is Byron Leftwich. So Mark can do a little bit, but he can't do everything. Yeah, I'm saying this, Mark. Yeah, you heard this. He's your boy. This is your boy and stuff. And if it gets bad, I will definitely send your wife some box wine. But that's just what it is, man. That's just how you are, bro. You weren't how you were when we first met you, but you are where you are. So it is what it is. I'm not going to say anything. Pless, shining star, bro. Thank you so much for what you do. I love the show. I love the concept. I like that, when a show comes out, I get on Twitter. Oh man, show's out. So I go ahead and drop it in a rotation. I'm good with it, man. Real Bucs Talk is legit since day one. Thank you, my brother. And tell everybody how they can get a hold of you and what projects you got going on.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Gene. Yeah, Mark is right now behind the scenes. He does the behind the scenes work. He's doing a lot of the film videos, so he's doing a great job. And obviously, you can catch me and him live on Mondays, 9:15 Eastern. A lot of fun. But yeah, it's been awesome time at Real Bucs Talk. We're really growing as a channel, and we just continue to put out the stuff that people want, and that's film breakdowns and really put an emphasis on that and how this team is looking and what they're trying to do. But Mark has told me I'm the face of Real Bucs Talk, and
sure.
I take that to heart, because I try to lead by example and put out a good product, because that's what it's about. And people are definitely enjoying it, and we appreciate everyone who joined us here tonight. Appreciate Eugene and Ken for the time that you give myself on this channel, and also support of Real Bucs Talk. So it's been an awesome ride, and we're going to continue. As far as next, we'll probably have Bucs offensive line film study tomorrow. That should be fun. Talk about Robert Hainsey and his struggles. And then we'll have probably a Vita Vea as well, because Vita has been dominant, like just flat out dominant. So I thought, and I think Ken Ken retweeted this, but I seriously thought Justin Fields died when he hit him that
So
hard.
I
Yeah.
posted a GIF of Darth Maul
Yeah,
after
Darth Maul.
Obi-Wan slices him in half.
Yeah.
Could that be a bear? Because Pless said that he thought that literally Fields was cut in half. So I literally had Darth Maul getting sliced and then falling backward.
It was awesome. Yeah, but no, I appreciate it, guys, and yeah, looking forward to next week as well.
Sweet. KB, my man Kim Barrett. Kim Barrett came on in the Tom Brady era, and he's been a huge
Literally,
part of
like
Buc What
what,
You
2
Heard.
days later?
Yeah, and it's so funny because every time I've been indifferent with a quarterback, I've been wrong, which I'm happy to be wrong. You know me, if you've watched Buc What You Heard, you know I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong. I throw apology tours. And, you know, for you guys listening, anybody that listens to the end of this show, question for you. Will I end up doing a Todd Bowles apology tour? Will I end up doing a Baker Mayfield apology tour? Because these are two guys that I didn't care one way or the other were part of this Buccaneers team. And could I be wrong? I don't mind being wrong. And I will bring that up at the beginning of every single show with the apology tour. If you go back to Ryan Suckup, I was indifferent about Ryan Suckup, and this guy came in and made you forget that the Bucs had a kicking problem.
The Bucs may not have a kicking problem, by the way.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, no, sorry, I said that wrong. They might not have a kicking problem.
Oh, I don't think they do, but we'll dive into that mid-season, and we'll get a little bit more into that. But KB, thank you, brother. I mean, I want to thank you and Pless because you guys, I mean, just what you know about football is more than I just can't, I can't really put a really term around it. I mean, I appreciate you guys and everything that you guys have done. And what do you have coming up? I know you're working a lot, and I'm blessed when I can have you on the show. So thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I'm coming back from a birthday little getaway here. I missed every single week 2 games, so be proud of me. I literally rewatched Red Zone. That's been what I've been falling asleep to for the past 2 nights. Is just falling asleep to watching Red Zone, and then I also have literally every single game queued up for like the condensed game. Especially like I want to watch the Eagles because this weekend the Bucs don't play on Sunday. So guess what I have availability to do Sunday morning?
I'm sure I'll be busy doing
catch
something.
up on pretty much the other 26 teams that I didn't watch because I rewatched for sure the Saints game, the Falcons game to be able to make sure that I at least kind of have a good idea. Obviously, the Eagles played Thursday night, so I watched that. But yeah, we're working over here. We had a 5-day week condensed into 3 days, so I was a little bit late because one of my stuff just kind of went over there. But we'll be on here as much as we can. But from that standpoint, you're always going to have. It sounds like Pless and Gene have joined forces, so you can literally watch this on 2 separate YouTube channels. So you have
that's the beauty of YouTube where you can simulcast. And again, Pless, I want to first and foremost, I want to apologize for my potty mouth. And moving forward, you will have a cleaner, Gener show as we move forward, my friend.
Oh God, I'm sorry, Pless.
So I do want to say, for me, this has been a fun season so far. You've got an offense that doesn't piss you off, and to me, that's exciting. You got guys that are making adjustments. You got a defensive coordinator that looks at the first half and makes adjustments in the second half. This is something I want to see progress. And again, cautiously optimistic. That is my theme for 2023. And I believe that if we can get to maybe game 11 or 12 and the Bucs are consistently winning or consistently improving, I will drop that moniker. But, until then, I'm excited for the product that they're putting on the field each week, but I can go week by week. That's all I can do. So I'm excited. I know this team is great. I want to shout out Bud Cannabis, Charles Reed, and let's see who dropped the super chats.
Yeah, Pelagic Computer and
Pelagic Computer,
and I think Gene G something. I forget.
All right.
Forget
And
his handle.
MK, thank you so much. New user. RG, I think it's RG Pew. We are doing this every Thursday. I like Thursday a little bit better. It makes things a little bit easier for me where I can go back to all 22 on Tuesday if I'm lazy and I don't get to watch it on Tuesday and watch it on Wednesday and be ready to give you guys something realistic. What I try to do with the show, I'm all about the fans. I think the fans deserve a voice, when it comes to a successful show. And I haven't really been like promoting it like I should because I'm a lazy bastard, but excuse me, it is what it is. And I'm excited. I'm excited about the season. I think this is going to be a great season for us. And next week, we're going to talk about what happened on Monday. So I'm excited. And again, thank you guys so much for contributing. If I missed anybody, thank you for checking us out. And I will make sure to next week, we will have the phone lines open where you can call in and just give your opinion. So next Thursday, I will have the phone lines open from the beginning of the show to the end. If you want to call in, you definitely can. I'll have the number at the bottom of the screen, so look for that. But anyway, we are out of here. Everybody have a great weekend. Don't be stupid. Don't drink and drive. And that's all I can say. Everybody have a great weekend. Peace.
See you. Go Bucks.